Hello guys, how are you? So, I'm going to I'm going to start podcasting. It's like I really want to do this for so long and I just spend hours, days, so many hours of my days watching YouTube and listening to podcasts on YouTube. So, I like this is such a great passion and I just want to start podcasting. So, I really enjoy talking about reflecting, discussing philosophy or people in general, like trying to understand the motives and reasons of people, why they do what they do, empathizing, I guess. But it's so interesting to discuss certain topics, and I'm going to start podcasting about topics that I really enjoy listening to, and I'm going to be reacting to them. So today we will be so if you want to look more into it, you can subscribe, of course, that would be awesome. And yeah, subscribe if you want to check my future podcasting episodes. So today we will be reacting to this channel, Freedom in Thought. And it has loads of videos that are like inspirational, motivational, and there are some that are very good. Today I want to look into become who you're afraid to be. Oh, this is actually Carl Jung. Okay. Funny. Okay, interesting. I was also wanting to study Nietzsche. That he's very interesting as well. Even though I don't know a lot about him, we will look into him. But first, let's look at this video, Become Who You're Afraid to Be. This is like sort of contradictory, but still makes you think about it. So let's watch.
This video was made possible by Wondrium.
Okay.
Click the link in the description to get your free trial. Most people are afraid to fully be themselves.
Wait, I just need to put the sound a little bit higher. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Wondrium. Click the link in the description to get your free trial. Most people are afraid to fully be themselves. They're afraid to embrace the parts of themselves that might be regarded as unacceptable, because embracing these unacceptable parts makes them feel uncomfortable. So to escape this uncomfortableness, they divide themselves into two halves, conscious and unconscious. In the conscious half, they construct an ideal image of themselves, an image formed out of the bits and pieces of their past that they deem as good and acceptable. And as a result, in the unconscious half, they repress the parts of themselves that they view as bad and unacceptable. In Jungian psychology, this repressed part of the personality is called the shadow. And unless the shadow is integrated into the personality, a person can never reach their fullest potential. Instead, one will always remain incomplete, fractured, and partial, living a life of regret rather than the full life that could have been. Imagine, for example, that I've solved a few equations and convinced myself that I'm a great mathematician. I might meet a few friends and they tell me that...
Okay, before continuing, so I guess we can say that we all tend to do this, like we all tend to repress our most negative traits. We don't want to assume them, to actually confront them.
They have a math club. They gather every weekend and try to have a crack at math's most difficult problems. This scares me because if I join, I'll no longer get to be the great mathematician that I've convinced myself I am. Instead, I'll be a concrete person with actual strengths and weaknesses. And in this scenario, there are two possible actions I can take. The first action is to run from my shadow and let it grow. I refuse to join the math club and realize my own weaknesses as a mathematician. I get to cling to the ideal image of myself as a great mathematician, but as a result, I lose the opportunity to actually become one. The second action is to come into contact with my shadow and integrate it. I join the math club and realize that I'm not the great mathematician that I thought I was. In the short term, this hurts. I discover that I'm not very good at geometry, but also that I excel in differential equations. I become measured with my colleagues. I have an actual place and rank among other mathematicians. In reality, I realize I'm not the great mathematician I thought I was, but now I open up the possibility of actually becoming one. I can actually improve my skills and rank. In the long run, this ends up being the best decision I've ever made. See, in a way, we often prefer to be pure potential. We convince ourselves we could be whatever we want to be, but don't actively work to actually be something. We just comfort ourselves with the idea that we could be something if we wanted to. This is because when we work towards something, we start feeling our weight in the world. We're measured.
This is so powerful. Like, we live in constant potential. And it's ironic because I've wanted to start uploading videos more and more. So every day I think about it. Like, I think it's today that I'm going to start doing, but I continue in potential because if I actually do it, well, for me, I would have to actually face that my content sucks, which it probably does. But this video helped me, like, not just this video. I had like a conversation this weekend with a group of friends. We had a dinner at my house, and it was just like I was talking about how being intelligent is actually not that beneficial for your overall life, because I always felt like so much pressure because I was intelligent because I am intelligent, but when I was younger, we are like, our success is measured by marks and by grades, and I was a very good student. That's fine. I loved school. I loved studying, but there was a part where I didn't actually enjoy it anymore, and I just felt so much pressure to continue having those grades, those good marks, because, like, I was intelligent. So why are you not succeeding? What is happening? And I think we all have so many conflicts, like blocks, that we need to come across to stop being just a potential. And in that conversation me and a group of friends had this weekend, it was very eye-opening to just see how I don't even make an effort. I was thinking, like, people that got a degree, that studied, and like they were at school, for example, I was way more intelligent than them. Like, I studied once at night and I got like a very good mark, and they studied for a month, a week, like very consistently, and they would get lower than me. It's mind-boggling. Okay, so I always felt like, oh, I will always accomplish more. Society tell us, oh, you have good grades, so you will accomplish more. But these people who are like not as intelligent, but they gained such amazing skills in terms of methods, hard work, sacrificing, they actually succeeded. It's subjective, but I feel like they succeeded more than me, because they are like, their wage is better, some of them went abroad, they have a whole work experience that I don't have, and I'm still just here. It's not that I didn't succeed. I feel like, looking at my abilities and my capacities, my intelligence and my abilities, I should have accomplished much more. And that is what is demoralizing about my life. But maybe, and some friends of mine told me that, oh, maybe this is just pressure from your parents that you haven't actually divided apart from. You actually haven't separated yourself from. But even if it wasn't for my parents, I think I can do more. Okay, like I see, like this video, I see my potential every day, and I just let the hours go by. I just let the hours go by, just with the fear of my content sucks. And one friend of mine just said like something very so impactful. Oh my god, I'm okay. So impactful. They said, oh, I'm not, I was explaining, like, with my abilities, I think I could do so much more that I don't do. I should be working at places with much better opportunities, and because when I focus, I really can achieve things greatly. And he just said, so just make an effort. Just make an effort. And it is like, I make all these excuses for why I'm not doing it, instead of just doing it. I think I want to get better before starting. I want to get more information before starting. I have to be perfect when I start. And that's not the thing. The thing is, you learn as you go by. And even if my content sucks, if I don't make an effort, how am I going to even know what it could have been? All right. So just for some context, I just struggled a lot with what I wanted to do with my life. But studying spirituality and studying MBTI and studying like all these personality traits, like I feel like I don't feel like I've gotten to know myself more, and I know that I should be doing something creative and something to do with communication. And sometimes I feel like what I want to talk about is not what people want to listen to. And that's why I've been postponing starting podcasting, because I just want to talk about such niche topics. But it can also be a good thing. It's not always bad. So, I just need to try it. Okay, this is the first day. Yay! Of this philosophy reflection topic.
Measured and ranked were quantified and actual.
Oh wait, I'm lost. Wait a minute.
This is because when we work towards something, we start feeling our weight in the world. We're measured and ranked. We're quantified and actual. And this actual reality is often less pleasurable to live in than our ideal fantasy. But it's real.
Wow, this is really important for INFPs and probably ENFPs as well, I don't know. But we just postpone things so much because we just rather live in the potential. But it's going to be depressing because years go by and you haven't achieved anything that you actually wanted to achieve. You just continue living in that potential without even doing it because it waits. It waits. It's a lot of wait, but isn't it worse to not do it?
Real, not a fantasy. And reality can be improved, but a life of fantasy always ends in tragedy. The
Thank you, video, for letting me know that.
path to self-improvement starts with self-acceptance. Only by embracing and integrating our shadow, by accepting the ugly parts of ourselves, by becoming who we're afraid to be, can we reach our fullest potential. But if we reject our shadow, if we pick and choose the parts of our past, personality, and behavior that we like, and repress the parts of ourselves we fear, we become incomplete and partial.
Oh, this is just so amazing. This is like such a good message. That's what I'm doing. Sometimes I think things that I just don't share because of people's reaction. And that's what I'm going to contradict from now on. I will share my total self, like my honest self, and embracing it and accepting it. That's the only way to live as a whole.
And instead of living a full, whole life, we live one full of regrets. But it's up to you to decide. In Jungian terms, will you embrace your shadow or reject it? Would you rather fail in actuality or succeed in mere hypotheticals? And if you're interested in accessing more insights from great thinkers, I highly recommend checking out this week's sponsor, Wondrium. You may have heard.
Alright, like this is such a good message. Like we should be reflecting on what have we been postponing so much because we are just so afraid of rejection, of failure, of sucking at it. Never mind sucking. Oh, this felt so wrong. Never mind if you suck at something. There's always gonna be someone out there who is going to enjoy your content. I think so. There's always gonna be someone, and if you're very niche like focused, like it's a very small niche, it's even harder. But at the same time, the listeners, the viewers are going to be so much more faithful. So there's a counterpoint. One thing that also makes me like not want to do something is because I just start comparing myself, like these people on the internet are so fantastic. Like the people I listen to, I just find them so interesting, like such great point of views, the way they are able to put their thoughts into words, or just like being able to make the other person see a point of view that they haven't even considered. That's amazing, and I want to do that. Even though I might suck at it, at least in the beginning. Oh, what did I do?
Heard me mention the Great Courses Plus before, and how they can help you access wisdom, new level, and academically comprehend. I'm always looking to continue to learn about new topics and grow in new ways, and Wondrium makes this easy by continuing to add new content to their platform every month. I personally love listening to philosophy lectures on Wondrium while I'm exercising or driving because it allows me to get a high-quality information in an entertaining and effective way. Right
I'm actually going to check this out.
now, I'm enjoying a course on The Great Ideas of Philosophy, taught by Dr. Daniel N. Robinson. One mind-blowing thing I learned from his course is that Socrates was a soldier. I think this defies the common image people have of him, as someone who has their head in the clouds and is removed from the practicalities of life. Socrates began philosophizing after he had defended Athens in many wars, and his philosophy grew out of those life experiences. You can get access to your free trial by going to wondrium.com/freedom or by clicking the link in the description below. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
To really get math and science?
Okay, I'm really sorry because I don't have YouTube Premium. I need to watch the... Okay, this was lovely. I want to know your thoughts about this. Like, what have you been postponing so much that you know in your deepest core you are supposed to do it? Like, let's just...
This video was made possible by Brilliant, a math and science problem-solving website that makes learning fun and rewarding.
Okay, Nietzsche. I don't know a lot about him, but from what I've looked, like, not thoroughly. I know, like, he wants us to focus more on life itself, and the way he wants us to do this is to, like, live more impulsively. Just like, it's like being drunk in creativity, just living life a little bit in chaos, but not... It's a good chaos. Like, it's about creativity and not so focused on rigidity, rationality, like more get drunk with emotions, with life, with like the raw things. And I love that concept. Because I just see myself so much in it. I feel like society is very rigid and doesn't, and I sometimes feel out of place because of that, doesn't have society, they don't have fun, like they don't enjoy life, like just out without preconceptions, okay? Like dancing, enjoying life, living in with emotion, sad or happy, like just going with it. It's an amazing concept, and I'm going to study this philosopher. He's so cool.
In The Joyous Signs, Nietzsche writes, "Whom do you call bad? Those who always want to put others to shame. What is most humane? To spare someone shame. What is the seal of liberation? To no longer be ashamed of oneself. So according to Nietzsche, someone who's truly free is free of shame." And
yeah, this is amazing. Nietzsche also, some things that I've read, that I've watched, Nietzsche says, I doesn't believe in someone who doesn't dance. Right? It's like he doesn't believe in someone that is not being even able to free themselves from the embarrassment of dancing, which is not even an embarrassment in itself. It's just you need to be like actually careless free. You actually need to be carefree, like not caring that much about what others are going to think. And maybe this video is going to talk about that.
And he thinks someone who shames others is bad. Why is it important to be free of shame? And why is it bad to shame others? That's what I want to explore in
Yeah, I never thought about that.
this essay. And I want to start with a question. What does it mean to be free? In The Joy Signs, Nietzsche says, quote, "What does your conscience say? You shall become who you are." Let me explain. This is an important idea in Nietzsche's work, and not only is it one that I agree with, but it's the starting point of this essay. Everyone has a true self which they must become, and it's possible for us to fail to become our true selves. Think of yourself like the seed of an oak tree. As the seed, you contain the entire, full expression of the oak tree within you. But if the conditions aren't right, if the soil isn't good, if you don't have enough sunlight, rain, or nutrients, you can fail to become a fully grown oak tree. And so freedom is the freedom to become what you are, to become the fullest expression of yourself. And with that idea in mind, we can...
This is also so important. I think we don't reflect upon this enough, like being the fullest expression of ourselves. Maybe this is like an FI concept. Like, we want this so bad, but at the same time, isn't it good if we could all achieve this? Like being free of restrictions. I think this is an FI concept. Just the way he talks about this, he was probably an INFP. Or INFPS. Probably.
Turn back to shame. Why is shame bad? Because it can prevent you from fully becoming who you are. And to explain how, let's look deeper into shame. What's the thought behind shame? The shameful mind says, who I am is not who I should be. But what does that mean?
Oh my god. That is true. That's what shame says. Maybe that's why we hate it so much.
Mean? Let's look into it. The shameful mind has an ideal. It has an image of what it means to be a man or a woman or a father or a wife. And the shameful mind compares itself to this ideal image and finds itself inadequate. And this measurement, this realization that who I am is not who I should be, leads to shame. But where did this ideal image come from? All shoulds come from society. Think about it. When you were a baby, did you have any ideas about what you should do? Probably not. You just did what you wanted to do. A pure mind says, this is what I want to do. A conditioned mind says, this is what I should do. So when you live according to a should, you are...
Isn't it like FI versus FE? It's so much like, this is what I want to do. Like introverted deciders, FI, even TI, they are like, I want to do this, I don't care about others. Versus extroverted deciders, even TE, they are probably not going to fully go on what they want to do. They want. But funny is, people who have the introverted decider as a second function, like EPs, yeah, EPs, they usually they don't focus about this that much. It is so natural, like they don't think about being themselves. They just are They are very confident. They don't obsess about people. So they are so natural. They don't overthink about this. So this is an IP for sure. For sure. Nietzsche was an IP. If he could be an TI lead, probably. I'm not sure. I think so. An INTP. INFP. INFP is really obsessed with authenticity. But this is so interesting because this content is going to be so relatable to IPs. EPs, they just do this naturally. They really do this naturally.
You aren't being yourself. You're being who your society wants you to be, and you're trying to live according to your society's image. You've become a puppet of your society. And if you understand that, you understand why Nietzsche thinks shame is bad. To shame others is to reject who they are. To shame others is to make people be who you want them to be and not allow them to be themselves. And when you submit to the shame of others, you reject your true self. And what happens when we reject our true selves?
Chasing that A and want to save time on proofreading? Grammarly makes editing one click simpler.
I'm so sorry about the YouTube ads. This is so annoying.
John Bradshaw
I don't even make money out of it.
was healing the shame that binds you. He says that in order to escape our shame, we often end up creating false personalities. Let's look at an example. As a little boy, Timmy was highly sensitive, artistic, and intuitive. He would cry whenever he watched a sad movie or listened to a sad song. He would spend his time painting rather than playing sports. And he was very attentive to how others felt. And honestly, these were Timmy's strengths, and he would have made a great artist one day. But Timmy's mother was always comparing Timmy to his brother. She would say, "You should be more athletic and outgoing like your brother. Your brother is a real man, and you should be like that."
This is so hurtful when mothers say this.
"You're just a skinny little girly boy." And Timmy's mother would constantly put him down and shame him for who he was. And so Timmy began to
People, don't do this to your children. Don't do this.
think, who I am is not who I should be. There's something fundamentally wrong with me. And so to escape his shame, he abandoned his true self, the artistic, sensitive, and intuitive self.
It's funny because I don't know if you've heard about Teal Swan. She also talks a lot about this. Like, there's no other way to live the best life you could live if you don't accept and embrace the darker parts of it. It's not darker, it's just who you are, but that you have excluded from you because of shame.
And adopted a false personality. He began to imitate his brother's actions. He started going to the gym, playing football, and in general, being a complete bro. He began to play this masculine role and wear this masculine mask to protect himself from shame. But to play this role effectively, he himself had to believe that it wasn't a role. So he had to convince himself of his persona before he could convince others of his persona. And by doing so, he had to cut off contact with his real, authentic self. And because he was playing a role, because those behaviors were not authentic for him, because his life became about outer appearances rather than inner development, he became a shell of a person. He felt more isolated and alienated from others. He felt lonely in the presence of others because they were never really seeing his true self. So what happens to Timmy in the end? Thankfully, at some point, Timmy realizes that he's stuck in toxic relationships. The people around him, his mother especially, want to control his life, and so far, he's submitted to their desires. He's living the life they want him to live rather than the life he wants to live. But finally, he sees the futility of this lifestyle. By living how his mother and brother believe he should, he maintains his relationship with them. But what's the point of maintaining these relationships? He's not getting anything out of it, and in fact, he's shrinking as a person. He realizes that these aren't real relationships. He has no real intimacy with these people. They don't even know who he really is. And because they don't know who he really is, he feels lonely in their presence. There's no real connection with them. His relationship with them is based on power, not love. And seeing the futility of this entire act, seeing the futility of playing a role, he decides to stop. He finds people who accept him for who he is and lives according to what he wants. He comes back into contact with his real self, develops real relationships, and no longer feels lonely and isolated. He feels more alive and grounded in life, and he reclaims his life as an artist, the life he lost when he abandoned his true self. So why is shame bad? Because it prevents us from becoming who we are. But keep in mind, I'm talking about toxic shame. Shame that arises out of the idea that who I am is not who I should be. There is, perhaps, a healthy form of shame that arises from the idea that who I am is not who I want to be. But that's a different topic for a different...
Okay. So, shame can be used productively. Shame can be when we feel shame of ourselves. Okay. Oh, okay. This is so interesting.
different video.
Like, sometimes we are ashamed of ourselves because I want to be someone different, and that brings transformation and evolution. This is so I'm going through something right now, like I want to be someone that I'm not yet, but at the same time, it's in me. I just need to connect with that part. It's the part where I'm totally confident with myself and with my tastes and with who and with what I want to do in my life.
As always, this is just my opinion and understanding of Nietzsche's words, not advice. If you liked the video, please consider liking the video. And if you're
Oh, Nietzsche, I need to look into you. Read so much more. I need to look into this philosopher. Like, this was before Christ. He was thinking this way. Who the heck? Well, in those days, they probably had so much more time to think and reflect because they didn't have YouTube videos to watch. But that's so interesting.
If you're looking for another Nietzsche video to watch after this one, I recommend watching my video, Nietzsche, Follow No One, Trust Yourself. I'll put a link.
Oh my god, this is like such good advice. It's so difficult to trust ourselves. Why? Parents should be like motivating their children to just be so trustful of themselves. We don't practice this because we want society to be like structured and everything. But it's like we would be so much more fulfilled if we trust ourselves.
Link to it in the description below and in the top right of the screen right now. And if you're looking for a great way to become a better thinker, I recommend checking out this week's sponsor, Brilliant. You may have heard me mention Brilliant before and how they help you learn science, technology, and mathematics, but they recently took the interactivity on their platform to a whole new level. Check out this example from their newly redesigned Logic course. Here you can actually drag and drop these cute little animated robots while solving fun logic puzzles. You'll start with the truth-seeking lesson, which seems almost obvious, but then you'll quickly learn how to incorporate advanced, multi-level thinking. Brilliant is an interactive learning platform built off a very simple yet effective principle. You learn best while solving problems in real time. Brilliant starts you off with simple problems, but they increase in difficulty.
This is actually quite good, actually. I'm going to note this down. What is called? Brilliant. I say I'm going to do everything, but then I don't do it.
Bit by bit, until, before you even realize it, you've learned a fundamental concept in logic, science, math, or computer science. Join a community of over 8 million learners today by going to www.brilliant.org/freedominthought or click the link in the description below and you can sign up for free. As a bonus for those who are ready to push themselves further, the first 200 people will be hooked up with 20% off the annual subscription. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
So I think we will watch Trust Yourself. Oh, I've watched it. It was a long time ago, but I've watched it. So this one has 2 million views. That's quite good. How to find the place where you belong. This is actually quite nice as well. Oh, you see, feeling shame, Till Swan. You are your worst enemy. Damn, this Nietzsche guy. He's like, he's all I need to listen and read. I've actually discovered something. I really learn better by listening and watching people talk. Yeah. Okay, let's just do one more.
I need to find the best way to learn math and science.
It's brilliant. You may have heard me mention Brilliant before and how they help you learn. Brilliant, a math and science problem-solving website that makes learning
Let
fun
me just check the camera. Is it good? Okay. Yeah, kind of good, yeah.
and rewarding. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, in the chapter called The Bestowing Virtue, Friedrich Nietzsche wrote something surprising. Zarathustra, a sage who is also the central character of the book, tells his followers to stop following him. He says, "I now go alone, my disciples. You too go now, alone. Thus I want it. I advise you, depart from me, and guard yourselves against Zarathustra. And better still, be ashamed of him. Perhaps he has deceived you." This is one of my favorite parts of the book. I found
Yeah, this is very good. Like, it gives people total trust and total independence to just do whatever they want. And just I can only think about relationships because we sometimes forget about this. Like, in a relationship, we should like completely trust ourselves, like having days where we will not follow like where we will just be completely independent. Just I think that's very beneficial to a relationship when you can do that. Like, now today let's be just completely independent. not talk to each other, and then we will come back. That is a very healthy relationship. Very healthy. And maybe sometimes people also get very attached to their parents because their parents have not taught them that you can do things, you can go and find your path. So they always need that attachment. They need it because they don't know themselves yet. They don't know what they would do without their parents, because parents have not installed like a trust-based relationship.
I found it surprising, but interesting, that the sage would tell his followers to be ashamed of him, abandon him, and mistrust him. Why would he do that? As usual, I'm going to explore this idea through a dialogue. A young student spent years searching for enlightenment. He traveled across many countries and lived among various groups of ascetics, but after years of searching, he found his quest to be fruitless. Finally, he gave up and decided to work on a farm. The farmer he worked with was a simple man. He didn't talk much, but when he did, he enjoyed a good philosophical debate with the student. At first, the student was open to debate, doubting much of what the farmer said, thinking he was similar to the other ascetics that the student had met in the past. But after some time, the young student sensed an immense wisdom and tranquility inside the farmer. He started to agree with the farmer more and more. The student's desire for enlightenment had returned, and so the student worked with the farmer for months.
Sorry, I got lost. I need to go back.
Inside the farmer. He started to agree with the farmer more and more. The student's desire for enlightenment had returned, and so the student worked with the farmer for months, absorbing his knowledge. Eventually, the farmer noticed that the student had stopped debating with him, and the following conversation ensued. Farmer, I think it's time for you to leave. Student, leave? Why? Listen, when you first arrived here, we had many things to teach one another. We grew together and learned from each other. Your mind was inquisitive, but recently, you've begun to believe everything I say. You've gone from an inquirer to a believer, and I won't let you do that to yourself or to me. We're both better off if you leave. But I came seeking the truth, and I found it in you. The truth. You're lost, kid. Why would you send me away?
Wow, this is very amazing. And there are so many people online who claim they have the truth. I tend to believe them for certain periods of time.
Way like this? How can you do that to me? Let me show you something. Take a look at this map. What do you see? I see our farm, the river nearby, and the mountains. No, you see an image of our farm, the river nearby, and the mountains, not the things themselves. Now tell me, what can you learn from this map? I can learn where the farm and the river are, the height of the mountain, where the berry trees are, where we plant our carrots. No, you can't. Give it a few millennia. The river will dry up, the mountains will move, and this farm may be a city. You can't learn anything about the farm as it is. You can only see an image of it as it was at some point in time. See, a man's memory is like this map. It can capture a shadow of reality, and he can share that with you, but he can never give you the reality itself. A man can give you his memories of the truth, but he can never give you the truth itself. He can tell you where the farm was, but you'd still have to verify it for yourself. If you want the truth as you say, there can be no intermediaries, no middlemen. If there's a middleman, then he's the one you're following, not the truth. But what's wrong with following you? If you follow me, you'll live according to my memories. You'll live according to my map, and you'll never learn to construct your own. What if my map is wrong? Then you'll be lost.
All right. Very eye-opening.
With me, and you won't be able to correct me because you never learned to navigate on your own. And if you can't correct me, then we're no longer able to help each other. But if you learn to see for yourself, if you learn to construct your own map of reality, then we can come together as friends and individuals. We can compare our maps and help one another see reality as it really is. And when we both see reality as it is, we can journey through it together as equals. I guess you're right. I'll start packing my things. In a letter to his sister, Nietzsche wrote,
Well, maybe he could start being more inquisitive. I don't know.
"If you wish to strive for peace of soul and pleasure, then believe. If you wish to be a devotee of truth, then inquire." And
Wait. If you wish to strive for peace of soul and pleasure.
then believe. If you wish to be a devotee of truth, then inquire.
Okay. Okay, that's nice. But I guess for me. Okay. It's like you cannot force yourself to believe. Can you force yourself to believe? Isn't that something like that comes out of you natural? Like it's an instinct. It's like feeling hungry. You cannot you cannot make yourself believe or make yourself inquire. It's like it happens. It's like a thought. It's like okay, you can try and strive to be more inquisitive, but I don't think you can make yourself believe. Like, so I want to be peaceful, so I will believe. Right? Maybe you can become more... Sorry. You can become more inquisitive, but that's weird. I don't know. Can you do that?
And in my opinion, Zarathustra tells his followers to leave him because they are still believers. He wants them to become inquirers. He doesn't want followers. He doesn't want people to believe what he says. He wants them to doubt him, inquire, verify what he says for themselves, and see if they arrive at the same vision of reality. And if they arrive at the same vision of reality, then they can be travelers in this world together. They can be equals. But if they simply believe what he says, then they become followers. Followers learn to follow someone else's map, and by doing so, they lose a direct connection to reality. And if they lose a direct connection to reality, we all lose the value that comes from their own unique perspective. We lose the value of independent verification and the possibility of someone correcting us. But inquirers...
Wait, I just need to put my phone... Mãe, eu já te ligo, tá bem? Espera só um bocadinho, eu já te ligo. Estou em casa, até já. Espera aí, até já.
Possibility of someone correcting. We lose the value of independent connection to reality. And if they...
This is so funny, like, because I think we all tend to do that in some way. Like, we follow our boss. We need to. How am I going to question my boss's decision? We follow our teachers. Okay, we can be inquisitive, but it's like, he's the one giving us the mark. We follow people on Instagram, YouTube, like we follow people instantly. And I think it's part of human nature. Even though, yeah, it's cool, it's very good to search for yourself, like what you would actually do or find out.
Map, and by doing so, they lose a direct connection to reality. And if they lose a direct connection to reality, we all lose the value that comes from their own unique perspective. We lose the value of independent verification and the possibility of someone correcting us. But inquirers, on the other hand, make their own maps and maintain their connection to reality. And because of this, they bring us actual value through their unique perspective of the world. But at the end of the day,
I guess I really love people who inquire, but that makes me a follower, right? But I like to inquire people who inquire.
this is just my opinion and understanding of Nietzsche's words, not advice. Feel free to use this information however you like. And if you have a different take on Nietzsche's words, I'd love to hear your perspective in the comments. And if you're looking for a fun way to improve your understanding of the world, I recommend checking out this week's New Level. Check out the learning platform problems, but join a community of over 8 million learners today by going to
I think I should read about Nietzsche. I really should. I think there's a lot to go into with him. A man. Yeah, it's very good to really trust yourself. Very, very good. Very important. You cannot. I don't know, you cannot. But you can also take advice from others. Like sometimes, well, your mother and your father care about you, and sometimes they give advice not that they want to not that they want you to follow their path or the way. They're not controlling, at least my parents aren't, but they just genuinely want you to be in a better place in terms of jobs or money. So you can take advice from them. It's not that bad, I guess. Okay, that's funny. Like I've also tried to write some music, and okay, because there's a guy saying, I worked as a musician for many years, however, I never made it. Most people don't. When I examined my path, I realized that I started out writing music from my own map of reality. People loved my music, but then I became obsessed with Kurt Cobain. I learned a lot from my in-depth study of his life and music, but at some point I lost my own map of reality in songwriting and started to just emulate Kurt. I lost my own voice in the process. Alright, this is very interesting. We can all learn from this. Like, now in the internet we have access to so much information, people, interesting people, and successful people, and we just want to use the formula they used. And sometimes I do this because I idealize people very much. We want to be them, we want to be like them, and we start losing our map of reality. That's true. We should focus more on that. All right, interesting comments. I'm going to really dive deep into this, but I think it's very difficult to dissociate yourself from external information, because every day when you watch TV, when you go on YouTube, when you go on Facebook, even when you meet people in real life, you don't even have to. You are always being influenced. We are always being influenced. And the one who says that they're not influenced is like, how is that possible? Yes, okay, you can block certain influences. I would say you don't block, you choose the one you want to follow. We all are following something. We have like an ideal of what we want to become. But I think it's not that bad, as far as you're not like copying other people. For example, I've seen Instagrams of people that are very, very interesting, and a part of me wants to be them. It's a little bit of envy, but a healthy envy. But then I just think like, why? I just reflect like, why do I feel this way? Why do I want to be them? I guess it's just like I feel like I could be them if I was more confident. So I see the qualities in them that maybe I don't have. Confidence in being different. And maybe that's what I envy. I think that's what I envy. A lot of confidence. And like, it's like they have this whole group of friends that are all so very interesting. And so I kind of envy having the conversations with interesting people, but maybe I need to become that before. But sometimes I feel like I don't want to put on a show, like, oh, I know I'm going to be. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put a show on Instagram to look more interesting. I'm interesting just the way I am, and I think we should never want to change or to appear something for other people. Yeah. I'm interesting just the way I am. That's cool. Okay. So we will finish this today. I'll go deeper with I don't know how to say this name, with Nietzsche, and this channel is very cool. We can get so much wisdom and like inspiration from this channel. It's very amazing. Okay, so I will see you in another topic, in another episode. I hope you've liked it, and I'll see you next episode. I'm not sure when it's going to be. So, but I want to continue doing this. Like, I love watching YouTube, so it's like having best of both worlds. All right, so bye bye. I'll see you next time. Bye.